stuff.
Yeah, so there's what
He's
Andrew
like me.
Tate has learned, bro. He's learned 100%. I cannot tell you that. There's no way, unless he's deluded, he would. Everyone makes mistakes. What he has had to have learned is that, okay, I've tried this thing. I want to see how much I can get away with, and he didn't get away with it.
That doesn't seem like a very smart strategy for somebody at his caliber. Oh, how much can I get away with? What are you trying to achieve? What's his goal?
I think it's more of a psychological thing, bro. I think it's a psychological thing. When you get that, think about it, bro. When you're at that level of fame, that level of money, you develop a grandiosity. That's what you develop. You start thinking, okay, I am the top G. The truth, no, seriously, I am the top G. But the truth is, you're the top G until you get it wrong. Every one of us is mortal. Every one of us is fallible. Every one of us has limits. Every one of us will be told. Every one of us is susceptible to criticism. Every single one of us goes to the toilet. Every single one. And Andrew Tate is an anxious personality, bro. I've read him. I know him as a brother. He's actually an anxious personality. He's, I would say, much more anxious than his brother, Tristan. Tristan's much more
He
stoic.
submitted this himself.
Yeah, but you can see it. But he was saying, like, for example, he went to prison. He was drinking coffee after coffee after.
He's always doing something.
Smoking cigars. It's addiction. Let's call a spade a spade. I mean, we were talking about. Sorry to say, bro. Sorry to say, you can make it look like masculinity, but it's actually just addiction. You're addicted to coffee. You're addicted to tobacco.
Yeah.
You might be addicted to sex. I don't know what you're addicted. Like, you know what I mean? You're just an addict. Okay, so what you're trying to cover? Anxiety. Okay, and you're addicted to Twitter. Islam. One of the great things about Islam is it will solve your addictions.
Yeah.
Wallahi, that's the whole point of fasting. That's the whole point of Hajj. That's the whole point of. Let's see, you got a sugar addiction. You've got a coffee addiction. You've got a cigar addiction. You know what I mean? I'm not even going into halal haram, but you've got an addiction. Don't try and dress this up as a masculine behavior. It's addiction. You can try and make it, because I've seen some of his tweets. He was like, I drink 100
coffees.
20 coffees a day.
Cigarettes.
Brother, sorry to say, so you've just told the enemy how to deal with you.
Yeah.
Put you in a cubicle, put you in a cell, remove coffee. Yeah. You remove coffee, you're going to be banging your head against the wall. Do you get what I'm saying?
Until you pray.
Remove coffee, remove cigars. I don't see that as a strong bro. A strong person intrinsically, I'm not saying he's not strong, he's got strengths.
Are you talking about me?
No, of course not. Of course. But these are I actually consider them to be weaknesses, bro.
Now he's talking about you.
No, I'm telling you outright.
On that note, please donate.
I'm not saying anything about necessarily his lifestyle. People attack his lifestyle a bit too much. Okay, he's a nice watch or a nice car. He can have a nice watch or a nice car, but it's when you depend on those things. Right. To what extent Andrew Tate and his followers and everybody else has to ask themselves, to what extent is lavish living, is a nice car, is fame, is addiction to tobacco, addiction to coffee, whatever it is that you're addicted to what extent does that inform your self-worth? Like, without those things, what would you be? Remove yourself. Be an aesthetic for a week or a month. Put yourself in a room, dark room, you know what I'm trying to say, or a prison cell. Prison cell. Because you might have to be thrown into a prison cell. To what extent would you be able to self-soothe and manage your own emotions and modulate your own emotions? Islam gives you a way of doing that by connecting yourself to Allah, which is the most powerful thing, rather than to all of these substances and tobaccos.
That's a great point.
Actually, to be honest, you cannot tell me this is strength. I don't care what you say. Oh, if you're not a real man if you don't drink 2 coffees, 3 coffees a day, or 5, 10 coffee. Well, that's who on what kind of metric is this?
Right.
From the days of Aristotle until now, no man alive has made a metric. You're just ad hoc justifying your own addiction.
One thing I realized about people really on Deen, guys like Muslim Lantern and other friends I have, they don't drink any caffeine, no nicotine at all.
I mean, it's okay so long as you're not addicted. Like, for me, the thing is this, is like, the higher levels of spirituality is when you might love your kids. There's such a powerful hadith. People don't know this hadith, yeah? It's a hadith about children. That children are a makhbala, they're a majbana. That children, when you have children, they make you more miserly, they make you more weak, they make you more cowardly. This is obviously Islam encourages having children, yeah?
But it makes you cowardly.
It's saying that the hadith says, when you have children, it makes you more cowardly, it makes you more miserly. It makes you, why? Because you're always concerned about the child. You're always concerned. So what's it trying to show you? It's trying to show you don't attach yourself too much with people and things. Mm-hmm. Islam is a religion, which at the core and at the heart of it is, do not attach yourself with people and things, because both are going to let you down. The Quran clearly says, وَكَانَ الْإِنسَانُ ظَلُومًا جَهُولًا. The human being is ظَلُوم, he's oppressive, and jahul, ignorant. If you rely even on friends or family or close acquaintances for your happiness, for anything, you'll be let down by that. If you rely on substances, you'll be let down by that. That's why there's this concept in Islam called ghina nafs, which is self-sufficiency. It's the idea of literally being able to handle life alone. You don't and only depend on Allah. This is wallahi, if you can master this, and it's a struggle because we're living in a hyper, sexualized world. We're living in the age of distraction, the age of technology, the age of addiction. Bro, the message that we should be sending to young people is not drink 20 coffees a day. I'm not saying it's haram, by the way. I'm just saying not connect yourself with things and people that can let you down and hurt you, and that can be taken away and then put you into a withdrawal situation.
Simplicity. Islam is simple.
Islam is about depending on the independent one, not the dependent ones. It's about depending on the self-sufficient one. So the moment you can try and kind of have a barrier between you and the creation, every part of you and the creation, have a barrier between you and the creation, then you become strong spiritually. And there's an energy that you will give off, a very secure kind of energy that you need. When you get this, nothing can touch you.
It's true stoicism.
That's how stoicism can be achieved. Wallahi. That's why people, like back in the days, the Sahaba, the companions, the way they were, consider the following, bro. There was a small group of people that overtook the Romans and the Persians because they were ready to sacrifice their lives. You don't get to a point where you're ready to sacrifice your life unless you've built that really deep idea of self-sufficiency. Do you know what I mean? And submission to God.
Why do you think that they locked up Andrew and Tristan again 2 days after they started talking about Israel to that extent? Do you think that there's some... Is it a coincidence or is it strategic?
I don't know, bro. I mean, there's definitely a correlation there. I mean, his tweets against Israel has been spiking since then. Even the concerted effort on Candace Owens that we're seeing, she's come under attack. Even Dan Bilzerian that you were talking about, he's come under attack as well.
He's very interested in Islam, by the way.
Yeah. I can imagine definitely based upon what Hijab just said. If there's no God, like Nietzsche said, God is dead. Yeah. G.K. Chesterton said, it's not that God is no more. It's that people will replace this void of God with other things. That's why you see when you go to football events, whether it's football here in the UK or whether it's football in America, the egg that you have in the hand and you run around with. Yeah. So still, there's a uniform that you wear. You go there. There's rhythmic chanting that you do. You laugh together. Yeah. You cry together. You go in droves. You go in groups. There's gatherings, there's discussions, there's regular meetings. You defend your side against the other side, and you preach, my player's done this and that. You replace Taylor Swift. Yeah, look at the followers of Taylor Swift. They're called Swifties.
Yeah, it's a religion to them.
It's to such a
degree. You didn't know this, Swifties.
I don't even know who she is.
Taylor Swift?
I've never seen a picture.
It's a white girl with the dress.
No, but even
I've heard of her, but I've never seen her.
That's pretty much all there is.
Even Justin Bieber, his followers are called Believers.
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 Yeah.
But what's interesting about Taylor Swift is she just came to the UK to do a few concerts. She improved the UK economy by £1 billion.
She what?
She improved the UK's economy by £1 billion. This was on ITV.
Wow.
So when people come and say, the power of celebrity, what celebrity? This is the power of celebrity.
You really don't know who Taylor Swift is?
I've heard of her. I've never seen her.
If she endorsed a politician, they would win the election.
Really?
Really, bro? Is she that big?
She's the biggest.
But I heard Cristiano Ronaldo, bro. One day he got 20 million subscribers on YouTube.
Yeah, but Taylor Swift is next to her.
I want
She
to
can't
read
be higher than him.
Yeah, she is.
No chance.
Yes.
Speaking of Dan
No way.
Bilzerian, he replied to a Zionist tweet. Zionist tweeted, the worst possible hate speech ever to be uttered is Allahu Akbar. Nothing else even comes close. And Dan Bilzerian responds to the tweet, Allahu Akbar.
I like this guy. Look, mashallah.
Great guy.
Do you know the thing about this guy?
But this is what...
He's had
That's
lots
funny,
of,
man.
He's had lots of women in it. He's had lots of...
Yeah,
this is his
and
thing.
this is
it's
what you
empty.
were
It's still
saying,
empty
isn't it?
after that. All the women, celebrity, drugs, this.
Yeah, because look,
Because it runs out.
That's the point. Like, this is consider the following. Yeah, like if you think about what the strongest emotion that we have in this world is, yeah, it's not actually lust, it's love. In my estimation, it's the strongest possible human emotion, yeah? And the strongest possible bond that you can have is love, okay? For many reasons which I'm not going to go into now. But here's the thing. For us, we have to go back to basics in a sense and ask the question, what is virtue? What is virtue? Many people have spoken about what virtue is, and everyone agrees that there's a list of virtues. Things like strength is a virtue, things like bravery is a virtue.
Respect.
Yeah, I mean, they don't really put respect like that.
No.
But for example, compassion. They put compassion as a virtue. Do you know what I mean? They put magnanimity as a virtue. They put generosity as a virtue. These are kinds of virtues. For us, virtues would be, the main virtues are the ones that are connected to God's attributes. So we believe in God's perfect attributes, right? We believe Allah is all-knowing, all-seeing, all-hearing, all-powerful. He's loving. He's a loving God. We do believe that Allah is a loving God. He's most merciful. He's compassionate, etc. The extent to which we as human beings can be virtuous is the extent to which we manifest the attributes in God in our own human way. Obviously, there's a world of difference between God's mercy and our mercy, but we can manifest a form of mercy. So for us to be virtuous, we are trying to manifest the attributes of God. Yeah? So, when you realize that purpose, that, okay, the Prophet ﷺ mentioned, إِنَّمَا بُعِثْتُ لِأُتَمِّمْ مَكَارِمِ الْأَخْلَاقِ, that I have only been sent to perfect good character. I've only been sent to make you virtuous, essentially. The question of, for example, because we mentioned this, Andrew Tate and others, you said, you got to love the Prophet more than you got to love your own parents. Someone would ask the question, why should you love the Prophet more than you love your own parents? The reason why we would say that is because the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ is the best manifestation of human virtue that the world's ever seen.
Yes.
And by the way, you can prove this. Like, let's take 2 or 3 examples, and I use this with one person. I was just speaking to a Christian person in the park. One virtue that everyone agrees with, I'll just give you one, is bravery. Every single person agrees that bravery is a virtue. It's mentioned in the Nicomachean Ethics of Aristotle. It's a virtue. Now look at the New Testament description of Jesus Christ. The New Testament description of Jesus Christ. What courage did that person actually exhibit? We have here the character of Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. In 10 years, he was involved in 19 wars himself on the front line, in the battlefield. He never ran away from battle. There's not one narration that said he ran away from battle. He was always in the front telling other people to fight with him. Versus someone, according to their narrative, and to stress, we don't believe in this narrative, who was whipped and beaten and this and that, and there's no evidence of that level of bravery. Jesus versus Muhammad, Jesus of the New Testament, the false narrative of Jesus, versus Muhammad according to our scriptures, which of the two manifests virtue, the virtue of bravery more? You cannot conclude, if you're being honest, on a historical level, that Jesus in the New Testament, which we don't believe is a true Jesus, we believe that's a fabricated version of Jesus, that Jesus manifests the virtue of bravery more than Muhammad. There's
what
no
about
chance.
speaking the truth, getting nailed to the cross?
Yeah, so
aren't these virtuous?
No, surely that's what you call moral virtue. There's a difference between moral bravery. There's a difference between moral bravery and physical bravery. But then if you want to amalgamate all types of any definition of bravery you like, there is no difference of opinion that bravery is essentially, most of the definitions would say like you have fear but you act even despite the fear. Like, let me give you an interesting definition of virtue, of bravery, according to Castamato, who was Mike Tyson's trainer. He said the difference between the brave man and the hero is not that the brave man doesn't feel fear and that the hero does. He said both of them feel fear, but one of them acts upon it and the other one doesn't. That's an interesting modern definition of bravery, but it's in line with the classical ones. What I'm trying to say is that when you're involved in, and this is usually used as an argument against Islam, they usually say that the fact that the Prophet ﷺ engaged in so much war showed the kind of barbaric nature of the Prophet and all that kind of thing. In fact, this is ample evidence of his bravery. And if you want to juxtapose this with any other religious figure, there's no other religious figure that you have historical evidence of that manifests that one virtue which, by the way, Aristotle said is the mother of all virtues, because without it, no other virtues can stand, more than Prophet Muhammad. Then we move on to another example. I'll give you another example. Okay, so that's bravery. Fine, you make a point. What else? We say we'll go to another example of forgiveness. Let me preamble this with the following. If you have a prisoner and a prison guard, you've got a prisoner in a prison cell and you have a prison guard, yeah? If, for example, the prison guard is going to take the prisoner and go and do something with him, and the prisoner says to the prison guard, he says to him, I was going to take revenge on you, but today I'm not going to take revenge. The prisoner says that to the prison guard. Would that be considered to be magnanimous or forgiving, merciful behavior? Not necessarily. Why? Because he doesn't have any power. So a prerequisite for showing mercy on someone is to have power. Do you see? If you don't have power over them, it's not really plausible to show mercy over them. Now, the character of Jesus Christ in the New Testament, the historical character, according to that narrative, he never had political power. So therefore, you cannot make the argument, for example, that he could manifest a kind of mercy on people. You cannot make the argument, unless you want to use the theological models of he's God and all that kind of stuff, which we would even debate that the New Testament makes that very clear. But putting that to the side, the historical character of Jesus in the New Testament, he did not have political power, and hence, so therefore, he could not show a kind of mercy and forgiveness that the Prophet Muhammad did. Because when he went into Mecca, and all the people there were, those were the same people that tried to kill him, he forgave them. He forgave the people. So the Prophet has mercy, he has forgiveness, he has bravery. The seerah of the Prophet, and this is what everybody needs to do when they start practicing. They need to look at the biography of the Prophet Muhammad.
Okay, hold that. We have to change the battery for a second. If we can.
That's fine.
Turkey. And it's super cringe, dude. They have all these Muslims walking around and they talk about, but I don't know, but dude, it's just super cringe. I just want to.
Of everything. Because the way it's seating.
We can't do it here?
But the lighting is not as good.
And also there's...
You don't have the light.
No, but in that area it won't be.
Why can't we do it here?
No, I'm
We're
just
back
saying
live.
it's an option.
Let's do it here.
The lighting here is better.
Yeah,
In the meantime,
let's do it
guys,
here.
Anonymous donated £125. May Allah bless you, inshallah.
Inshallah.
Carry on those donations, inshallah, brothers and sisters. Helping the dawah, inshallah. Friday. And when you guys going to join our dawah team? Tomorrow we've got dawah team in Leicester Square. You guys going to come? If you're free, Leicester Square. Leicester Square is quite... It's like... Sorry.
It does display bravery. Because you know the hadith of the highest form of jihad is to speak against
A tyrant, yeah.
He did that.
Yeah, sure. I'm just saying, compare the two.
So what your point is, Mohammed, peace be upon him, is more brave than Jesus, peace be upon him.
No. I wouldn't put it like that. We're talking about
biblical narrative.
their narrative, the New Testament narrative. If we're being objective, we get a mean definition from classical times until modern times of what the word bravery means. Apply it to the seerah. Once again, use AI. Apply it to the seerah of the Prophet Muhammad versus the New Testament, and see which of the two fits that definition more. I'm sorry to say there's no comparison, because in the seerah you have moral bravery, which is speaking. Moral bravery is different to, let's say, physical bravery, right? You have moral bravery where the Prophet ﷺ spoke out against tyrants and so on, but you also have the physical one. Whereas you don't have as much evidence of physical bravery from the historical character of Jesus according to the New Testament. Yeah. So I'm just saying that obviously for us, Jesus Christ is a beloved, infallible prophet.
We can say Christ?
Yeah, we can say Christ. Okay. We believe he's Christ. Yeah, Christ, the Messiah.
Assalamu alaikum, Dawood. How are you, bro? Good to see you.
Sorry. How are you doing? Okay.
But from an Islamic perspective as well, look, everyone's going to run away from the Dajjal, right? The Antichrist. Yeah? Who's the one that's going to fight him? Isa alayhi salam. Our narrative, everyone's going to run away from the Antichrist and he's the one that's going to fight it. That's the Jesus we know.
It's everybody, or is I thought it was 90% of people?
Everyone's running, even Mahdi. There's nada.
You're running too?
Me, brother, I'm the first one to run. What are you talking about? I do tactical retreat, I'm not for it.
Mahdi's going to run away from him.
No, Mahdi alayhi salam is not. He's not going to. Mahdi alayhi salam is not going to.
Mahdi's running too?
Not running.
Not running, but but he's not going to face him.
So what's Mahdi doing?
We are told, by the way, it's not a thing of cowardly.
The only person that could kill the Antichrist, the only one that has the ability to kill him is Isa alayhi salatu. No one else has the ability to.
Yes, our narrative is not. By the way, our narrative of Jesus. Wallahi, our narrative of Jesus is so much more.
Yes.
It's so much more practical, so much more virtuous than their narrative. Is what I'm going to say. Our Jesus is so much more virtuous. It's the kind of man any young person would want to follow. Their Jesus, they may, in their own religious context, want to follow him. But in the meantime, they're watching Andrew Tate because, in a way, Andrew Tate, the character of Andrew Tate, has certain things that the New Testament Jesus doesn't have.
Oh man,
that's the truth.
They're going to be angry on that one.
It doesn't matter.
Who's going to be angry?
It doesn't matter.
I love it. Well, effectively, I'm saying
the
New Testament Jesus, I'm sorry to say, is a contradictory figure, because you've got him in when he's got no power. Yes, he's acting in a very forgiving, you could call it way, very placid way, very docile way. Yes, but then when he comes back,
the biblical narrative.
When he comes back in the book of Revelation, what does he do? He kills the prostitute, Jezebel, this and that. Why?
Yeah.
What, so the moment you get power, you start. It's a killing spree now.
Muhammad, peace be upon him, he forgave a prostitute.
No, I mean, when the Prophet has Islam, he forgave everyone in Mecca. He said everyone is forgiven.
No, it was Allah. Sorry.
When he was in power. He was in power and he chose to forgive.
Yeah.
Their narrative of Jesus Christ is not attractive. I'm
He's
sorry to
talking
say.
about give the right
That's
cheek.
a very Nietzschean reading of Christ, I must say. That's what Nietzsche says as well.
Yeah, exactly. Nietzsche said the same thing.
Yeah.
Nietzsche said exactly the same thing. Nietzsche said that Christianity is a slave religion. Because if you look at the New Testament, it's like, who would actually want to be a loser? Because essentially, they've made Jesus Christ into a loser.
But why?
They've made him into a loser.
Why though? Why?
They've made him into a loser. He lost.